Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David and this is a Magic Review. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Did you catch the video I did for tricks that get the best reactions? Did you watch that video? If you didn't, you should go watch that, because in that video, we talk about the invisible deck. The invisible deck is one of those tricks that not only gets killer reactions, but when you ask magicians, intermediate, experienced, pros, whatever, if you ask magicians what their favorite trick deck is, if they had to carry a trick deck, if they had to carry one trick deck, what would they carry? Time and time again, you will hear people bring up the invisible deck. It's just one of those. It's just one of those tricks. It's just one of those tricks. And we all remember, we saw David Blaine do it, you know, on his Magic Man special, and blew everybody out of the water. People were rushing to the magic stores to buy an invisible deck. But the problem with the invisible deck is, most of the time, you don't even learn a trick. You don't even learn a trick. You saw somebody perform the invisible deck, and then that's the routine that you copy, right? Probably the guy at the store that sold it to you, right? Showed you the one trick that comes with it, which is basically, right, in a nutshell, I have an invisible deck, right? That's what you always start with. You always say that. I have an invisible deck, and I want you to picture holding this deck and then mentally turning one card over. You can see that one card in your mind. They say yes. And then you say, what was the card? And they say, six of hearts, right? And then you pull a real deck out, fan through the cards, and of course, one card is turned over, and it's a six of hearts. You can repeat it, right? It's a new card every time, and there's no force. The spectator really does name any card. But the problem with it is, it seems to be a one-hit wonder. It seems to be a one-hit wonder, because that was the one trick that was taught to us, and we just get stuck in that loop that we just never think about doing anything else with it. Never think of any other creative ideas that could come up with that. Good thing we've got insanely creative and brilliant magicians like Craig Petty who come along and say, you know what? I bet we can come up with more, right? What else could we do with the invisible deck? And now you have Visible. Visible from Craig Petty. He has joined forces with the magic super force that is the 1914 D. Christopher, Lewis LeVal. Craig Petty has come up with a master class. I know we throw the word master class out a lot. We do. But if you were going to say, what is a master class is something that's long, right? Long, and has a ton of information, right? How can you explore every facet, every avenue, drive down every road? Craig Petty has done it 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. You don't know how often I will criticize, right? Critique magic creators and say, man, that tutorial was so short, right? I paid $40 and the tutorial was 10 minutes or even 20 minutes, right? 25 minutes. No worries here. No worries. 4.5 hours. And you're like, well, but it's probably a massive download, right? I mean, if I don't have an invisible deck, I'll probably have to go out and buy one. Nope. 1914 took care of that for you. They include 2 invisible decks, a red one and a blue one. United States Playing Card Company, quality invisible decks. Why 2? Why 2? Why 2 with different colors? Well, Craig is going to teach you some tricks that you can do with an invisible deck and a regular deck, and tricks you can do with 2 invisible decks. What? Yes, that's right. That's why you can label this a masterclass in invisible deck work, because Craig is leaving no stone unturned. $40, $40 gets you a nice box, nice 1914 box, 2 invisible decks inside, red and blue, United States Playing Card Company. And yeah, 4.5 hours of tutorial. And the way the tutorials are shot is, it's Craig. He's in kind of like a nondescript warehousey style room. He's performing for friends and family across the table, and you always get a performance video and then an explanation video. And first up, of course, you'll get an intro. He's going to spend like 2 minutes walking through just what the project is all about. There's another 3-minute file where he walks through the classic presentation of the invisible deck, because why not? Why not, right? Going to teach you the classic even if you don't know it. And then there's a 26-minute historical video where he goes over the history of the deck and how it is constructed. The first trick is called Future Craig, and it is 26 minutes long. And of course, you could do this trick even if your name isn't Craig. But it's a alternative trick to the classic, right? So it's going to work exactly the same way as the classic effect. But in this one, instead of saying, I have an invisible deck, he's going to say that he has the ability to talk to his future self. So his future self calls him on a cell phone and tells him the name of the card the person's going to pick. And then he reverses that in the future. And then the deck shows up in the past. I get those things kind of mixed up all the time. It's a great alternative. You will need a third-party app to make your phone ring from the future. The second trick is called Across, and it's a card across effect. It's a 19-minute file. 3 selected cards teleport from the large deck to a small stack that your spectator is holding. It's probably the cleanest cards across routine you're ever going to see or perform. The next trick is called Symbiotic. It's 18 minutes. It's similar to the Across version, but now it's a full deck version. So you have 2 decks, they have contrasting colors, and you explain that they share a symbiotic relationship, that whatever happens to one deck instantly happens to the other. Then there's a trick called Celebrity Prediction. This is 15 minutes. You are able to predict not only the celebrity that your spectator is thinking of, but also that celebrity's favorite card. And of course, in this trick, Craig uses a book test. And I will also say that you are going to ruin an invisible deck with this trick, because you're going to write in Sharpie marker the name of a celebrity on the back of each card. The next trick is called Time Prediction. It's 20 minutes long. It's also similar to the previous, but instead of a celebrity prediction, you're actually going to reveal the thought of time. So your spectator is going to call out a time of day, and they're going to call out a card. And of course, when you pull that card out, it will match both time and card face. The next trick is called Confabulation. It's 19 minutes long, and it is also similar to the previous 2 tricks. In this trick, the spectators are going to help you select the outcome of a poker game by telling you the winning card and the time that that game took place. The next trick is an any number at any card effect. This is 22 minutes. This is a way for you to do a deconstructed invisible deck trick and combine it with a mem deck. So this is a thought of number that appears written on the back of a thought of card. The next trick is called Paper Bag Triumph. It is 13 minutes long, and it looks like a triumph effect, but it is a disguised standard invisible deck trick. So you take the cards and you shuffle them face up into face down. You put them into a paper bag and shake it. The spectator calls out any card, and when you remove the deck, all the cards have righted themselves except the card they named. The next trick is called Condition Transpo. It's 11 minutes long. This is a 2-deck transposition, but it's not the decks that switch places, it's the conditions of the decks. The next trick is called Mate Deck. It's 15 minutes long. 2 randomly selected cards will come together in your deck, and you never even touch it. The next trick is a Do As I Do trick. It's 10 minutes long. Your spectator turns a card over in their deck, but they do it out of sight. You don't even see what they're doing. And then you do the same thing, and against all odds, of course, the 2 cards will match. Then at last, there's an outro that's 12 minutes long, and he covers some commonly asked questions. All right, slights and difficulty level. How hard are these tricks? Some of these tricks are standard invisible deck tricks, and they're going to work, just like you'd expect. Others of them have some setup to them. So you'll be deconstructing your invisible deck or arranging it differently, or, like I've mentioned, you'll be taking a Sharpie marker and writing on the backs of those cards, which means if you do any of the card tricks where you're writing on the back, you've now taken that invisible deck and made it another trick. So it'll no longer be an invisible deck anymore. It'll be a trick that you're doing specifically for that. And I would just say, even though you're getting a whole host of ideas to do with the invisible deck, I wouldn't necessarily say these are tricks that you could do back to back to back. A lot of these tricks have very similar appearances or similar plots. So even though Craig's giving you a lot of ideas, right, it's not to say that you're going to sit there with your invisible deck and do 3 or 4 of these back to back. You won't, right? These are just alternatives, okay? And like I said, if you choose to do some of the ones with the Sharpie marker, you've then turned that invisible deck into that trick specifically. You won't be able to use it for anything else. Otherwise, as far as anything extra you might need, like I said, some tricks require a regular deck of cards. Some, as you heard, right, require a paper bag or another invisible deck or a book test. And the one trick that was a mem deck trick, you would of course need to have knowledge of a mem deck. Positives, the positives are it's a great push. I think it's a great push to get you to think outside of the deck, right? Because I think when we get these gaffs and we get these trick cards or trick decks or even gimmicked items, right? Even any gimmick, we fall into the habit of isolating that one trick out and making it a trick all into itself, and we do the exact same thing we've seen everybody else do. And I think what really separates the magicians from the magicians is finding new ways to use old gimmicks or incorporating this and putting them together. You know, chances are you have tricks that you haven't even thought about combining, and they very well could. Whether it's 2 tricks with Sharpie markers, 2 tricks with safety pins, 2 tricks with rubber bands, you could take those 2 routines and meld them together, add some original patter, right? Some original you, put you into it, and you could create a whole new effect. And that's really what Craig is doing. He's not only showing you what is possible with something that's classic, but getting you to think in a new way, right? I think we have so much magic in our back drawer that we haven't touched in forever. It's time to dust some of that old stuff off. Before you go out and buy new things, you should dust some of that old stuff off and find some hidden gems. I think the only negative to this is what I already mentioned, right? You're either going to need a second deck or another invisible deck or another prop, or you're ruining a deck with a Sharpie marker. So maybe I would have liked more tricks where you just use the standard invisible deck without any modifications and without any other props, maybe. But that's just me. But who would like this? I think anybody that's already a fan of the invisible deck, right? You love it, you perform with it, you're comfortable with it, it's great. You can sing its praises, right? Or someone who's never touched an invisible deck, you've never bought one. What a great starting position, because now you will have the advantage that none of us had. You will have the advantage of starting with a pantheon of tricks instead of just the one. So you've already got 2 feet out the door, right? And plus you're getting 2 decks. 2 decks and 2 feet. Can't beat that. And like I said, it's $40 from the 1914 or your favorite magic dealer. Thank you so much to the 1914 Craig Petty for allowing me to have this trick so I could do the review for you. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, did you know there are over 300 videos and reviews that you've never even seen here at Magic Orthodoxy? It's true. And if you join the membership section today, you'll get unlimited access to that exclusive content. What are those videos? These would be the magic tricks that I buy with my own money. These are the tricks that I want, the tricks I am the most excited about. All you have to do is click the join button on your screen. And there are 2 exciting ways to join. For $2, you'll get access to 8 extra videos a month, 8 brand new videos a month. And for $5 a month, you'll get access to 12 new videos a month. Not to mention, you'll also be part of an exclusive community of almost 500 other magicians. And if you can't find the join button, I will put a link in the description of today's video. Thanks guys, bye.